The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
There was a family that lived in Eretz Yisrael, and on one Erev Shabbos they get a call from a distant cousin of theirs that the wife has to go to the hospital immediately. There's a medical emergency, and they have 3 children, and they can't take the children to the hospital. It seems that the husband and wife will be in the hospital for Shabbos. Could they take the children? Just a few hours before Shabbos, they said, of course, and the children come there, and the children are totally traumatized. They're little kids, they don't know this distant cousin, and they're crying the whole time for their parents or their grandparents. And they realize the grandparents live like 2 hours away, whatever it is, an hour and a half away. Maybe they could somehow make it work, but by the time they drive to the grandparents and they drive back, it's going to be too late. But all of a sudden they had an idea. They called the grandparents and they said, you start driving right now, we'll start driving right now as well. We'll meet at this and this place, and if we both do that, we probably could still make it back in time for Shabbos. The grandparents said 100%. They were aware of the situation. They got into their car. They meet in the middle. The children switch over, and then the fellow begins driving back home to his house without the children. He's driving for about 20 minutes when all of a sudden a light goes on. Low fuel. And he's in this place where there is no gas station for another 40 miles. It's getting lower and lower, and the car is starting to hesitate, and he begins to panic. He's going to have to spend Shabbos on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. There's Arabs in the area. He has no food for Shabbos, but listen, Shabbos is the most important thing, and he's sweating profusely. He doesn't know what to do. He's mamish stuck. In a moment of just desperation, he turns to the Rebbe and says, Rebbe Shalom, if you can get me out of this situation, because by that point his car was at the side of the road, totally stopped. He ran out of gas. Hashem, I'm committing to start learning Hilchas Shabbos in a real way so I could be Shomer Shabbos properly. Within 2 minutes, all of a sudden, a large fuel truck, a gas tanker pulls up behind him, driven by an Arab, and says, Habibi, what's wrong? He says, I'm out of gas. The guy says, well, I'm the right type of guy. He literally goes over to this large, fuel tanker. He pulls out a small little nozzle, puts gas in the guy's car and says, Lech habayta kodim Shabbat. Go, leave before Shabbos, and go home. Just the Kabbalah of trying to upgrade his Shabbos by learning Hilchas Shabbos somehow created the ratzon that an Arab, perhaps not api derech hateva, full of gas, stops and gives him gas. Because you see, when we commit to the Rabbi Shalom, especially in upgrading our Shabbos and Shemir Shabbos, the Rabbi Shalom kicks back.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org